This is John. John is one of our sales engineers at Weaviate, and he's awesome. So he built out this application that effectively takes in Batman criminal data, and he stores all this Batman criminal data in Snowpark Container Services. I've helped him build a front end that allowed him to do a front end query, and the data that you get back, we put into the front end view. But I'll just quickly showcase this. I won't play any of the audio here, but here is where John is showcasing where that data is stored. And this is where you can search for something to the effect of a note to Bruce Wayne. And these are two criminals that will come up from a vector search. All of this data, all living in Snowpark Container Services and the language model, as well as the embedding model, all running in Snowpark.
Yeah, Adam, welcome to the show.
Hey, Julian, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think to get us started, we'd love to hear kind of what's been your background and journey that took you to Weaviate, and what are some of the exciting problems that Weaviate is solving that you're excited about?
Definitely. So I guess the journey that I took to get here was I started in the developer tool space at Apple, working with the team there to build out Xcode. And that was super, super fun. I did that for about 3 years, but I really missed one part of the job, which is like education and connecting with communities and sharing interesting solutions with people. And so when I found developer relations at Google, I thought it was like a perfect fit for my personal passions and my professional skill sets. And I worked with the business messaging team there to build out this product called Business Messages, which built out conversational AI tools, or it was more of a platform to connect consumers to businesses and allow them to interact using conversational AI tools. After doing DevRel at Google for about 3 years, I found a company called Skyflow. They're a data privacy vault, and they have a really amazing product and incredible team there. But with the AI boom, I realized there was just a much more organic overlap between what I was doing at Google and what these LLMs give the capabilities for. And so finding Weaviate, discovering what vector search was, and building on top of these applications was a huge calling for me. And so that's been a really interesting space. And so leading up to where we are today, one of the most interesting problems that I have is educating communities on how to build real-world applications that use Weaviate in production and also integrate with technologies like Snowflake to get them the value that they're looking to get in the enterprise ecosystem, in the enterprise space.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a really exciting journey. And I kind of want to break up a couple of things you mentioned, right? One is this surge in AI and sort of like the different tool systems and infrastructure that's needed for that. And then second, the use cases that apply to Weaviate. So let's start with the first one. How can you see like this world of vector management databases, this whole set of space in the AI space, and the role of Snowflake alongside that journey?
Yeah, for sure. This is a really interesting question. Vector search, it didn't come from large language models. Actually, vector search existed a long time ago when we were able to build machine learning models and neural networks. We were able to generate embeddings from there too. But once we had a world where we had more language models, more machine learning models, we were generating more embeddings. We needed a place to store them. And we found that they were generally useful to store and to do vector search over to find similar items to the things that you're querying. So where things tie in with Snowflake is we're seeing a lot of like our customers who use Snowflake and Snowpark Container Services have their data warehouse in some region, and they don't want the data to leave that locality or that regionality. And so what we are able to do is deploy Weaviate directly into Snowpark Container Services environments into that ecosystem so that they live in the same environment and the data never leaves that compliant ecosystem, that compliant space.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense because security is top of mind for a lot of customers. Now, the question is, what are some of the real world use cases? You mentioned it had been used a ton in machine learning. What about some use cases in this new era of generative AI?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is also a really interesting question because everyone is thinking about generative AI today and thinking about how to apply these tools directly into their applications or building applications that are AI native first. But a perfect real-world use case of Snowflake and Weaviate together is in an e-commerce environment where companies are selling these products on digital storefronts and then storing review data for their products. That's what I'm going to show in a little bit. But effectively, when you store these review data of your products, you want to be able to do analysis over them. Maybe you want to do summarization over them for new customers to see what other customers are saying about given products.
Yeah, that sounds super interesting. We'd love to take a look at that demo that you have ready for us.
Cool. Yeah, let's jump right into it right now. So right here, I have a high-level architecture diagram that showcases Snowpark Container Services running Weaviate and a Jupyter Notebook. But realistically, you can run any number of services in here, even like a front-end web service, and have that all within your Snowpark Container Service environment. These compute pools run a text-to-vec service that allows us to do embeddings or generate embeddings of the data. The Weaviate service actually is where we store all of our vectors and do vector search on top of. And then we also have a Jupyter Notebook service that just allows us to look under the hood to see how things would apply to an application in the real world. From there, we have all of our other aspects of this ecosystem or architecture. We have like the registry where we pull images from, all surrounded by the bounding box, which is Snowpark Container Services. So just at a high level, I want to jump into Snowflake here to look at where our data is. We have this table called product reviews. And in product reviews, we have these different columns. For example, the review text, the review time, the summary of that review, et cetera. And these are all tied to a given product that someone may have purchased. So OK, let's jump over to the demo in this Jupyter Notebook. The first thing we're going to do is install a Weaviate client as well as python.env to load in any environment variables for our application to run. And so that's where we are here. From here, we store these environment variables as variables in our application. And then finally, this is where the magic happens. We actually connect to a local instance of Weaviate that's running inside of Snowpark Container Services. Going down further, we can skip this because we're not connecting to WCS. We'll install the Snowflake connector Python dependency that allows us to interact with Snowflake retrieve data right within our application. And if we go down, we'll see that we are actually making an instantiation of the Snowflake connector and storing that in our application right here. So we can access Snowflake from this connection object. In a world where you haven't set up your Weaviate collection, I have that right here, which actually demonstrates the collection name is called product reviews. So this is going to take data from that Snowflake table that you just saw a moment ago. And then we're going to first check to see if that collection exists. If it does, then we delete it, and then we recreate it. But I'm not going to run this because we've already created it and loaded in a bunch of our product review data from Snowflake. So here is the creation of that collection. And we're pulling in the ASIN, the product name, the product review text, as well as the product time. OK. So from here, this is some code that loads the data from the Snowflake connection object, where we are selecting all the data from the Weaviate demo. And we have this in a table called product reviews, as I showed earlier. We load all the data into a Python data frame. And then from there, we iterate through the Python data frame, creating these dictionaries and inserting it into the Weaviate collection that is represented by this object right here. So collection.data.insert new item. And each one of these new items are product review data. As each and every one of these product review objects are being inserted into Weaviate, Weaviate is automatically taking each of these product review data and then generating a vector embedding from that review and then storing the vector embedding in Weaviate. And going back to our architecture diagram, our embedding model service is actually running in Snowpark Container Services, so the data never leaves that ecosystem. And after we've gone through and inserted all the data, we can do interesting queries. OK, this one's not so interesting, unless maybe it is for some. We're able to retrieve like the vector and showcase like what that vector looks like. So this is just a massive vector. It has a lot of dimensions. But more critically, we can do things like this, which allows us to do a product review analysis through something we call generative search. And so after we've loaded in all the data, we're able to retrieve a collection object. This collection object contains all the product review data that we can query into. We generate a query called, for example, bass guitar. And the persona is someone who's an expert. So this person is an expert bass guitarist. And from there, we can inject a prompt right into the Weaviate query. So let's just take a quick look. Convert the following review into product information and features, including the following fields. We include the ASIN, the product name, the description, the features, and the feature review. We identify that this product is for this particular persona, which was expert. And it's in the field of music. And all fields should be tailored to this audience to help guide them towards purchasing it. And as we do this query, we're actually passing in, first, what happens under the hood is we do this query, Weaviate receives the query, we retrieve all of the most similar vectors from these product review collection. And then with the prompt, we pass it into the language model that's running downstream. And you can have that language model also running in Snowpark Container Services. And so the generated output will contain the generated response from a language model, including the context from your product reviews data.
Yeah, no, thanks for showing me and walking me through all of that. You guys are doing a lot of the hard work. And actually, what I'm seeing is that there could be lots of examples like this one that could be developed in the community. So as part of your role, how are you making sure that a lot of this knowledge is being shared, as pretty much all of us are learning about generative AI at the moment and best practices and how to do all of this work together?
Yeah, definitely. Solid question. We're super engaged in the community on many, many fronts, but I'll give two examples. From the digital front, like we post a lot of our content on LinkedIn and Twitter. And this is just an example. So this is John. John is one of our sales engineers at Weaviate, and he's awesome. So he built out this application that effectively takes in Batman criminal data, and he stores all this Batman criminal data in Snowpark Container Services. I've helped him build a front end that allowed him to do a front end query, and the data that you get back, we put into the front end view. But I'll just quickly showcase this. I won't play any of the audio here, but here is where John is showcasing where that data is stored. And this is where you can search for something to the effect of a note to Bruce Wayne. And these are two criminals that will come up from a vector search. All of this data, all living in Snowpark Container Services and the language model, as well as the embedding model, all running in Snowpark. So doing fun things like this online helps us create a lot of visibility and create more kind of engagement with our communities, bringing inspiration into the art of the possible for developers, integrating both Snowflake as well as Weaviate. And this has been a lot of fun for us. Building out interesting, exciting content has both been fun and rewarding because it creates a lot of engagement on a lot of great questions for us.
I really like all that fun content. I think the next question is like, what are some of the things you're doing to help AI developers kind of like get hands-on and learn from each other as the ecosystem continues to evolve?
Yeah, definitely. The ecosystem is growing very fast, and there's all sorts of new tools and companies coming out regularly today. And so another way that we kind of engage the community, get hands-on, it's this thing that I've been running at the GitHub office where I bring together a few different companies, and what we do is we build out these little challenges. So we do these things called quick start challenges, where developers who come to these events will go through each of the quick starts as fast as possible. The first person to complete all the quick starts and show proof will win some kind of prize. So this creates a lot of engagement. It creates a lot of questions. I'll just roll the video back here. We usually get about 150 to 200 people register. It's a lot of fun. We do raffles. People give demos. It's a very fun and exciting time. And at the end of the night, people tell me, I had a lot of fun. I learned about new technologies. And I feel like this has just been a great way to get people hands-on and actually doing stuff with both Weaviate and Snowflake and other technologies.
Yeah, no, I really like kind of how you're bringing the community together and especially kind of leveraging and showing them all these different tools that are out there. Now, as we're starting to wrap up, kind of like a last question for you. You kind of come from experience of working at multiple companies, now working more of like developer relations and some of the cutting edge technology in AI. Any trends that you're seeing and anything that you want to give feedback to developers as like how to stay on top of these trends?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first thing is to get familiar with a base set of tools. There's a really interesting article that was released some number of months ago, maybe even like a year and a half ago now, that talked about like emerging LLM infrastructure. And I would take a look at that architecture diagram and just learn about the different companies that are in each of these spaces. Many of them are open source, and it's something that I love. But I would dig into each and every one of these components in that architecture diagram. Vector databases is one of them, and you can get some of that at weaviate.io.
You have lots of content and things to learn from. So if I'm a developer that wants to get started with Weaviate, where should I go?
Yeah, definitely. Our website, weaviate.io, has all sorts of great blogs, great content, great documentation, and it's a home for all of our developers and developer documentation. So if anyone wants to go learn anything about vector databases, that's the place to be.
Yeah, no, that sounds easy. Adam, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks so much, Julian. It was great to be here.
And of course, thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to see more videos of AI builders showcasing their applications built right here in the AI Data Cloud.